Hey everybody, it is Allison coming to you live from Amelia Island, Florida. Coming to you live to share some really incredible information that I discovered today. If you're just bumping into me, hi, I'm so happy you found me. I am an ordinary woman that has an extraordinary passion for living a happy, healthy life. And I love to encourage others to do that. I feel like that's my mission in life. That's my calling in life, is to encourage, motivate, and educate people on how to live healthy, happy lives. All right, so if you're joining me live, tell me where you're coming in from, and let's get going. So yesterday, if you saw my live, I talked about, my dog is laying here waiting for his father to come up and feed him. So anyway, sorry, squirrel. Yesterday, if you saw my live, I talked about a training program that my husband and I are involved in for the month of January. And yesterday was our first session. And Richard Blissbrook is the trainer. He is very well known in the network marketing world and the business world, the coaching world. And the biggest golden nugget that I took from that training yesterday was that you should really only focus if you're trying to grow yourself on a personal level, whatever your passion is, right? So mine is personal development, health and wellness. Focus on 3 books for the year. So here I was kind of priding myself on reading as many personal development books as I possibly could in a year. But what I realized was I wasn't really assimilating the information, absorbing the information, and putting it into action. So I was reading a lot, but not necessarily absorbing it as much as I could if I really just kind of stayed with one book and read it and digested it and did the action steps in that book. When he said that, it took so much pressure off of my shoulders to not have, I have a list on Amazon, like a mile long, of personal development books that I want to read or think I should read. But when he said focus on 3, immediately I knew the first one. I knew one book that I was going to focus on this year, and I showed it yesterday, and I'll show it again because it is a phenomenal book. I read it in 2013 when I was doing a holistic nutrition course. It's called Whole by T. Colin Campbell, and it's Rethinking the Science of Nutrition. And the podcast that I listen to talks a little bit about that. It's kind of focused on that. So amazing book. That's going to be one of the books that I really focus and dive into. I have that thing highlighted up the wazoo, but I'm really going to dive in so that I can speak confidently about that book and help educate people. The second book is this one. I read this one, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I read it in 2012-13 when I did my yoga teacher training. I remember loving it then, and I kept telling myself, read that book again. It was so good. You got so much out of it. And then, of course, I didn't because I was so busy reading other books, right? So I found this the other day. This is another book that I'm going to dive into for 2021. The third book I don't have yet. And I decided that this would be the third book today when I came across this phenomenal podcast episode. So I saw a guy by the name of Shawn Stevenson being interviewed by Dr. Mark Hyman on Instagram, IGTV, the other day. Dr. Mark Hyman, if you don't know who he is, he's a functional medicine practitioner. He puts out incredible content, so much valuable content to help you be a healthier person. So go find him on Facebook, go find him on Instagram, follow him, and start to consume some of his content because it will help you if you want to be a healthier person. So I saw Shawn being interviewed by Dr. Hyman, and I'm like, who is this guy? So I saw that he'd had a podcast. So I love podcasts. I'll put I don't have my headphone, it's over on the counter. I'll have like a little ear pod or earbud. I'll stick that in my ear while I'm making dinner or I'm vacuuming or I'm doing other things, but I'm listening to that at the same time. Today I was kind of listening, taking notes because I knew I wanted to do a live on this. So his podcast episode that I listened to today was called, hold on, I don't want to get it wrong, 7 Major Factors That Control What Calories Do in Your Body. For so long, and some people still believe this, and I hear it a fair amount, it's calories in versus calories out. It's math. It's not. Calories do, depending on where the calories are coming from, what kinds of foods the calories are coming from, it does different things in your body. So not all calories are created equally. I want you to know that. This is a phenomenal podcast. I don't know if you can see that. It's called the Model Health Show. I highly recommend you listening to it. This is a little over an hour long episode. I'm halfway into this, and I've taken a lot of notes, and I'm just going to share a few little snippets with you. And then if you want the link to that podcast, let me know. I can easily share that with you. So a couple of things that Sean pointed out in, half of the first half of this podcast. We need to shift the culture of health and wellness. I am on a mission to do that. I would love for you to be on a mission to shift your own health and wellness and help other people to do the same. And I know Sean is on that mission as well. We have to shift an awareness of what controls our metabolism. And he cites all of the work that he talks about in this podcast. He tells the medical journals where he's finding this information. Only 12% of Americans are metabolically healthy. Only 12%. 200 million Americans are overweight or obese. 43% of Americans are clinically obese, and we're on track to be 50% clinically obese in the next few years. He talks about epicaloric control. So have you heard of epigenetics? It's a whole new buzzword out there now. And Sean talks about an acronym that he uses now. This is my third book. He wrote a book a couple of years ago called Sleep Better. His newest book is called Eat Better. That is going to be my third book for 2021. Eat Better. So you know that I'll be ordering that. He actually wants you to order it from Target because he has an initiative with Target to get Target to be carrying more books like this, more health and wellness related books. So I guess I may be ordering it from Target or maybe Amazon. We'll see who has the better deal. So he uses an acronym, and the acronym is called In the DM, INTHEDM, In the DM. And he talks about hormones having a major impact on our metabolism. And it's like our hormones are sending emails and text messages and DMs to our cells. And if you have a hormone that's overactive or overstimulated, it's like sending out so many messages that it kind of goes to your spam box, right? Your body can't process all of those messages at once. And so that's when things start to get out of balance. So number one, the I. So I'm going to give you four factors in the acronym. So I stands for inflammation. This is a major buzzword, and with good reason, because this is a really important thing to know about. Inflammation controls what calories actually do in your body. And it is probably one of the biggest drivers, inflammation, for chronic disease today. Now, inflammation in itself is not inherently bad, right? It's the body's repair mechanism. So when you cut yourself, you get inflamed. That cut might get inflamed because your body is healing itself, right? So it's not inherently bad, but when there's too much inflammation or it sticks around for too long, the body gets out of balance, and that's when chronic disease can start to become a problem. So that is I, inflammation. The N in the DM is for neuroinflammation. Brain inflammation. He talks a lot about the hypothalamus and what happens when your hypothalamus is inflamed. And brain inflammation when there's an excess storage of fat in the brain. This is our computer system. This is the most complicated computer in the world, our brain. We all have one. He talks about the nervous system and the endocrine system. And he talks about two foods. Now, of course, I highly encourage you to listen to this because he really kind of dives deep into this. 2 foods that you can include in your diet right away, tomorrow, or today, because probably everybody has this one food in their cupboard. 2 foods that you can incorporate into your diet to reduce brain inflammation. Number 1, extra virgin olive oil. Most people, I would hazard a guess and say probably 90% of people have extra virgin olive oil in their pantries, but not all olive oils are created equally. You want to make sure that your olive oil is organic or non-GMO. If it's full of pesticides, he talks about pesticides, and it's scary when you hear him talk about pesticides and what pesticides are doing to our bodies and what they're doing to our liver specifically. So if you can buy it organic or non-GMO. And you want to make sure that it's in a dark colored bottle because it's heat sensitive. It's not the best thing to cook with, because when you heat it, it changes kind of the molecular structure, and you're not getting all of the benefits. It's actually better to put it on a salad dressing, or let's say you bake some fish, drizzle it on after you've cooked the fish, not while you're cooking the fish. Some people are doing olive oil shots, right? So extra virgin olive oil, it does matter the quality of the olive oil that you're using. So that's number one. The second one is spirulina. So that is a superfood. You can get it in your local health food store. A lot of green powders, like a green food blend. I have a favorite that I use often just to get extra greens in my body, and spirulina is one of the greens that's in there. So those are two foods that can actually reduce brain inflammation. Really, really important. The T in the DM acronym, the T is the type of food controls what calories do in the body, type of food. So there was this study done, and again, Sean cites this in his podcast. There was a study done. They gave half of the group a whole foods sandwich and half of the group a processed food sandwich, okay? The whole food sandwich consisted of whole grain bread and cheese, real cheese, okay? That was it. The processed sandwich was white bread and like a cheese, what did he call it? It was like a fake cheese. It was like a Kraft slice, a Kraft singles. So Kraft singles, it actually can't say cheese, can't put cheese on the package because there's not enough cheese for it to be called cheese. It's such a processed food. So Whole Foods was whole grain bread and actual cheese. Processed was white bread and fake cheese. Okay. And what they found in that study was the people that ate the processed food had a 50% reduction in calorie burn. So it slowed their metabolism down 50%. So processed food is going to, so the calories you get from processed food are going to affect your calorie burn in a much more negative way than whole foods. So what does that mean? It means eat more whole foods. I follow, well, right now I'm doing 30 days to healthy living. So I'm like 100% no gluten, no dairy, no refined sugar, no alcohol. But the rest of the year, when I'm not doing this program, I'm 80-20. So I do have room for wine and, you know, maybe not a ton of processed stuff, but I do eat some processed food. So I'm not saying never eat processed food, but your diet should be more in the whole food arena than the processed food arena. All right, and the last thing I'm going to say is the H in the DM. So the H stands for how your food is prepared. When we start to cook food, some foods, it becomes more bioavailable. So our bodies can absorb it better and absorb the nutrients from it when it's cooked. So much information, guys, I know, but I was so blown away by this podcast. And again, if you want me to share the link with you, let me know, and I'm happy to share it with you. It's a great thing to listen to if you commute to work or if you are out for a walk. If you walk every day, put your earbuds in and listen to that, right? Incredible wealth of information. This man, Shawn Stevenson, and his podcast is called The Model Health Show. So thank you so much for watching, whether you watch me live or caught the replay. I hope that you got a little bit of value, even if you just learned that olive oil and spirulina will help reduce brain inflammation. If that's all you got, then that's amazing. If you have any questions about health and wellness, I hope that you'll consider me as one of your sources of inspiration and knowledge. Wherever you're finding yourself this evening, this Tuesday evening, I hope that you're happy, healthy, and well. Until next time, peace out. God bless.